guess my biggest question is, and you can, if you need detail or whatever, let me know, but I'm trying to figure out best way to learn to give forgiveness, not just to others, but for myself, because I feel like that's the biggest thing that's stopping me from progressing forward.
Forgiveness is good. Forgiveness is good. But the act of forgiving implies that something bad happened. That something happened that requires you to forgive it, you see. And so while the energy of forgiveness is good and near the harmony of love, there is another perspective that you can have here. You can understand that in the process of you experiencing this life, and in the process of every other human on this planet also coming for the same purpose and reason, you can understand then that each personality, each soul is unique into itself and has the authority to experience this life in any way that it chooses. And the experience is for its own good. It's for its own evolution and expansion, as is yours. The crux of the ability to be able to shift your perspective from needing to forgive something wrong that happened is to be able to see yourself and others from the truth. Nothing wrong is happening. Nothing bad has happened. And I know for many this is a very difficult thing to hear. Remember that you either planned to have certain experiences or you attracted them. Now there is a level of planning that is involved with the personality prior to coming down into physical form, where there are certain rendezvous points and certain junctures that are anticipated. And the purpose of those are to experience contrast that's going to provide the platform for the pivoting of the perspective and ultimately the expansion and evolution of the personality in physical form. So if you understand this, and you also understand that you create your own reality, and where you stand in your creation is always good, that you cannot get it wrong because you are in the process of becoming. And not only are you in the process of becoming, but so is every other inner being that is incarnated here. They too each are in the process of becoming. Then you can begin to see the beauty and the perfection of yourself and of others in their paths and journey, and yours as well. And if you can get that far cognitively, then you understand that the unconditionalism, which the unconditional love that flows to you and through you from all that is, also sees you that way, and everybody else on the planet here that way. That's why it's unconditional, because there is nothing bad happening. There is just the learning, the growing, the experiencing, you see. And the experiencing causes not only your evolution, but the evolution of all that is, which is why non-physical appreciates you so much. Your brave and courageous journey into this physical form, where you had to forget who you were in order to have these experiences. But now it is okay for you to remember. You have only to allow yourself to remember. And in the remembering of that, the full power of you. And in the remembering of that, recognizing the full power of every other human on this planet. But everybody stands in a different place in their evolution, you see. And everywhere that everybody stands is okay? And not judged as wrong or bad by all that is. That's why the love that is flowing to you is always unconditional, and you cannot disconnect from it. You cannot disconnect from it, you see. And so if you're able to shift your perspective from forgiveness, which implies that there was something to forgive, which one is, again, while a very loving act to perform in and of itself, it is not quite in harmony with the authenticity of your existence and your cognitive awareness of your, not only your existence here, but your unlimited existences in all these other lives that your higher self is right now experiencing, that you have access to. So what you want to ask for is the ability to perceive that there was never anything bad that happened to begin with. And I promise you, your inner being, your guides, your teachers stand ready to assist you with this cognitive understanding. You will be provided opportunities that will allow you to have access to the clarity of this understanding, of this perspective. And this is why Abraham calls it the view from broader perspective, the broader perspective of all that is, how all that is viewing each and every one of you, instead of how each and every one of you is viewing each other. There is a broader perspective that you can come into harmony with and align with. And when that happens, you will feel it. You will realize, everything that you have experienced has served you, has served the moment when you aligned with that broader perspective and the joy of being able to have it, because that is also freedom, you see, freedom from fear. There are many different nuances that one can avail themselves of here, but the ability to, and it is a nuance, to discern the difference between forgiveness and unconditional love. Unconditional love does not need to forgive. That's why it is unconditional. It is a love that is able to be shared with you and others unconditionally, you see. And so when you can shift into that broader perspective as much as you can in how you view your experience and the experience of other humans on this planet, you're going to come into harmony in those times with the unconditionalism of that love, which never needed to forgive anything in the first place. Do you understand?
On some level, yes.
Forgiveness is a good place to start. It's an extending of love to another human being. And so that is never a wrong step. I simply suggest to you that there is a next level of resonating love that does not require you to contemplate forgiveness, because you're able to have the view of this life from the platform of how broader perspective, how all that is views this life. There's another level of harmony that is you, is all I suggest. And so if you're wanting to know how to have more assistance with forgiveness, my advice is to come in harmony with the broader perspective's view of unconditional love. So to be unconditional means to acknowledge that there was nothing bad. There was nothing wrong. I would pose your questions for all that is and be asking for the clarity of that nuance. Because in your having the clarity, you will be able to use that clarity as leverage to face and overcome more of your fears and get rid of them, you see. Clarity is what you want. That is your path to having more ease to the next level of forgiveness. The next level of forgiveness is unconditional love for yourself and others. And what you want is the clarity on how to come into harmony with the alignment of that energy. which is the energy that flows to you and through you at all times that you're unable to disconnect from. Do you have any questions?
What about in terms of being, say, like an empath? Because I feel like I feel what other people are feeling all the time. So
you are. You're telepathic, and so are they.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's really hard because it's like, even if I'm trying to forgive them, I'm feeling their, anger or frustration with, whether it's for themselves or towards me. So I'm having like a hard time disconnecting from that to try and find.
But it's not hard to disconnect because their thoughts and their emotions do not have the authority to assert themselves into your experience. Remember, you can only experience things you can only experience this description. It has to be with your cooperation, you see. And it is your belief that it is hard to disconnect, which is stopping you. It's impeding you from disconnecting. You are not required to be aware of other people's negative emotions. You're not. You have the ability to cognitively say, this person is standing where they are in their own path and journey. It's not where I'm standing, and that's okay. That person has their own inner being, and we'll work it out with them. And it doesn't require my attention. It doesn't require my focus. And it doesn't require me to do anything about it, because I didn't come here to be responsible for how this person feels. Free yourself from the limitations of your beliefs. When you say it's hard to disconnect, it is not. That is just a belief. It is very easy to disconnect by recognizing the truth of what's happening. They're on a different path in their journey. They're on a different place in their journey than you are, and that is okay.
I guess I needed to hear that.
And it's not your job to fix it. You didn't come here to assume the mantle of responsibility for the vibrations that they are allowing in their own experience. You came to be responsible just for yours, you see. And any delicious cooperative components that come into your sphere of awareness is, of course, wonderful. But you're not required to do anything, you see. And if you tell yourself it's hard, it will be. But you can also say, nah, it's easy for me to disconnect, because I know that I'm only responsible for my vibration. And I also know that they have an inner being that's taken responsibility for theirs. Yes? The truth always works. And your inner being is always going to resonate the feel-good feelings of what the truth sounds like. And that is the truth.